Hello, greetings to everyone. I'm very happy to see all of you. We're running this session in English because we have a diversity of people involved in the session. And I would like to say a group of about 10 of us have just met to talk about some of our activities. Of course, we could have been a group of 100, but it would have been very difficult to organize. And we would like to give a summary of some of the things we've been discussing over this past hour and a half that we've been just exchanging here. Our group is diverse to the extent that we have people from different countries involved here. If I think the farthest away, I believe, is certainly Leanne Curtis, who is attending this event from Northern California, from the Chico Valley. Then we have Andrea Botello, who is in Berlin, but she, for this purpose, has been telling us about activities in South America that have been taking place for the networking of women conductors and women musicians. Very fascinating to hear. Several of us are here in presence in Munich. You see the 5 of us sitting here, and several more online. What I would really like to do at the moment is I would like to present a sort of summary of our discussion. And the form that I've chosen is to ask each of the participants, that's 8 different people from 8 different organizations, to do a short summary and answer 2 or 3 questions. The questions are the following. What did you find inspirational in the exchange that we just had among each other? Because I think if one of us found something inspirational, it might be inspirational to further people, to other people attending the event now. Then, how do you see our networking in the future? What do you think would be a good method, maybe to make our networking more intense, to find even more possibility for exchange? And then, if you'd like to address the question of what are the next steps for your organization, then that would be the 3rd question. And as I said, just a short statement. So I think I would like to start with someone sitting here at the table. Do we have a volunteer? Would someone like to start? Susanna Wojnicka.
Yes, hi.
That's quite nice. Susanna Wojnicka is attending this session in the name of MusicaFemina München. And MusicaFemina München, as you know, is the host of this whole conference. And we've partnered with the Orff-Zentrum München for this event. So we're sitting here in the wonderful building, it's sort of a villa of the Orff-Zentrum. Many thanks that we can be here. And Susanna would be representing MusicaFemina and answering these 3 questions. What would you like to tell us, Susanna? You're on.
Sorry, I was just out of space for a moment.
Uh-huh.
Please, can you recommend your...
Yes, I would repeat.
Yes.
The first one is, what did you find
Yes, okay, yes, I got it. I have to think so much in the background.
Yes.
The most inspiring thing for me in this round was the amount of the people of competence. And this is most inspiring to me, to hear the voices from around the world and to feel this storm, to want to move forward in the world, to fight and to come forward with all the ideas like this one.
Yes.
Yes, this is the most inspiring to me right now.
And what are the next steps for our networking or also for MusicaFemina? How do you see the next steps?
Our next steps, I think, are to move forward in the social media. This is an important work to network. And when I created the Twitter account of MusicaFemina, we became overnight. We get overnight over 100 new users who are interested in our networks, and this is to move forward and to bond together in these spaces. And these are the next steps to refresh our website and to move forward in the online channels. And yes, this is the next steps in the next month.
Yeah. One thing we really talked about is making our movement popular, a popular movement, a broader movement.
To increase the data.
I think the web is one possibility to do that. I'd like to pass the word on to Vienna, to Irene Suchi. I see her sitting there. Irene was telling us about the activities of MusicaFemina International. It needs to be differentiated from MusicaFemina München, which is a much older institution. But your work, Irene, is based in Vienna, but you've worked internationally, so you refer to yourself usually as MusicaFemina International. How do you see, how inspired are you by our discussion, and how do you see our network for the future? Oh, we're still not hearing you again. You need to do the same thing you did before, whatever it was. And open up.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, go. Good.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. So, what inspires you today?
I just want to say again, our foundation is called Mäzenatentum.at,
Right.
Forschungstransfer in Wissenschaft und Kunst. It's one of the projects.
Very good.
One of the projects is working on female composers, and this is MusicaFemina in various ways, and we are also written a little differently, but it's only a project, and the foundation is called Mäzenatentum.at, which is also one way we want to mainstream music of women, music of new composers, of contemporary composers. As one aim is to mainstream and to unite it and to make it part of this big flow, of this big stream of music life. I am inspired and I am happy that there are so many women who are who have such a deep knowledge on female composers, and it's really nice that everybody knows Amy Beach or all this big. This is a relief for me. Yeah, the next step is really for making it popular. I agree, because there are lots of publications, there is lots of editions. Although every music can be re-edited again, we have to make it popular. So maybe use all media we know, social media. We created an Instagram account, and we have a lot of followers, interesting followers, and then to connect with the big leading institutions. There's no other way, I think.
Thank you. Thank you for your statement and for your participation. I know you're very involved in the idea of maybe getting a new European Union project going. I know you're looking for partners for that. We didn't really get a chance to talk too much about that today, but I know that you have it on your agenda.
Yeah, whoever wants to approach me to cooperate for a Creative Europe project, the next admission period might be in summer or something, so there's still some time. And we have learned a lot from the first project.
Yes, indeed.
Bloody learning. But we survived.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Irene, and thank you for your work also with the radio. You've got the women composers out there really well in Austria. Okay. I'd like to pass the word on. Let's move from Vienna to Berlin. And the first person that we'll talk with, who is now currently in Berlin, that would be Andrea Botelho. Andrea, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Could I pass the word to you? I'd love to hear something from you. I know you're on your way to Brazil tomorrow, and that is your home country.
Wow.
And you talked to us about wonderful activities taking place in South America, a huge wave of activity, and conferences that take place every 2 years with many people attending. And the manifesto that was made this year by this organization. So tell us what inspired you today in our exchange, and tell us where you see the next steps and for the good networking possibilities.
Yeah, thanks, Mary Ellen. So I'm very inspired for everything I heard, and I'm really like replying what Gabriela de Lacho, the other Brazilian here with me, said. I like to go big. I'm very interested to do Creative Europe here in Berlin. Irene, if you like, we can really talk about that, because South America, we have a lot of women orchestras and the role of women in music, it's growing, and we are working hard to get our work just being projected. And the international symposiums of women conductors, when we see like over 900 female conductors just getting together and discussing, and like not only there, and we have a lot of similar issues that, as well as you're talking. And I think the only way, just like what Gabriela said, is not go mediums, go big and trying to connect with us. Like networking means we need to get more bounded and being together. Yeah, the things what I really realized, we need to understand, just to go to the end. I know we need to be fast. To understand this new word and learn how to get more profit of it, of this hybrid life, understand more this online and social medias, and understand how can we manage to get our work being more posted to get to the big ones, the big producers, for getting more equality in music. Né? It's the only way, I think, now that I see, to getting together with so many people from California to Austria and to London, and that is not only being talking, but starting to getting more profits of working together in this way. That's what's my next step, just to find out how we can get more in working places together. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm very happy for your statement always, and for your work that you do and your enthusiasm. I think that's an important point.
We're together. Thanks.
Mirka, would you be willing to be our next person to give a statement? Thank you. Mirka, let's say, just for the people who've joined us, perhaps you would just like to say what institution and whatnot.
So I'm with MusicBYWomen and MusicWomen Germany. I thought I heard a lot of really interesting best practices tonight, and I've been collecting them for a few years now, so I'm definitely going to add a few things to my list, which I think is great. I'm trying to get that published at some point in print and online, but I think from what I've heard, it's something we definitely need, and we also need that platform where we can exchange more, and we can also transfer knowledge in a way. So that's also something we're working on. I think the Networks event, which we are doing at the start of next year, which everyone who's here, you don't have to be in a network, you just have to be interested or want to get involved in any way. Whatever is invited to join us for this big event. It's going to be online, so you can participate from anywhere in the world. We're also going to have, starting over with our networking dinners, which I found a very good way to connect with people you haven't met before, at Novel Prague in the 22nd, I think, of November, October. I'll have to look it up. But Novel Prague. It's also something I can recommend for others to try it, because if you sit down and you just can't go anywhere and you just have to talk to the 5 people next to you, it really creates a bond. And you'll get to know some people you would usually not talk to, because they might not seem like the same kind of people, but that's exactly the point. So you get some new input. I think we're also going forward. We're talking a lot about how to make it more popular, and I think a big step towards that is talking about allyship and how people in power, which at the moment white cis men, can also help along the way, and to get them more involved actively to do so. So we're actually thinking about doing a little think tank on this topic, and to invite men to also participate in it and to think about what they can do for all of us, because it's their definitely something they should be doing already. And I also think that getting like funders to have like a quota, because in Germany we call it Fehlbedarfsfinanzierung, which basically means we are like correcting something that is lacking. And actually, why are we like funding white cis men projects that are already getting money from other parts, you know, from any kind of economy? They don't really have a lack of that. So I think that money should be going towards like women and gender minorities and to intersectional approaches, and not just to like, the same people over and over again. And I think we could really do a change by getting a change in that area. The one last thing I want to say is I think we're still using a little bit of old school language here. We've been talking a lot about women, but we have very little talked about trans people, about non-binary people, about agender people, who have often been more marginalized or have ongoing being marginalized. We also haven't talked a lot about having several forms of marginalizations. We're a very white panel here. So maybe also going forward that we think more about how we can like include that in our language, because we, or people, don't identify as a woman, so I can't tell, but women always know how it is to be mitgemeint, to be like also meant, but they do it exactly the same thing to trans and non-binary and agender people. So kind of like to think about that in the future more. I think that would be my final statement.
Thank you very much. I think you really are an important representative of diversity in our group here today. I've felt that from the very first word you said, and I'm very thankful for it, because you have shown us some very important facets of our discussion that we need to be more sensitive to. I really feel that way, and I'm very happy for your having stated that. And I think you have represented here also maybe a group that many of us or many of our institutions are more focused on classical music, and we have that sort of traditional point of view, perhaps even just because of that. And you represent more the rock, pop, jazz scene, and maybe lots of other genres as well. And it's been very wonderful having you involved. I'm very pleased.
And thanks for having me.
Yes, glad. Yeah, let's cross the ocean and speak with Leanne Curtis. She is in California, and she represents the Women's Philharmonic Advocacy organization. Leanne, are you with us? We need you to unmute.
Unmute, yeah.
Okay, Leanne is the person who had the most stress with this whole event today, because she had to get up in the middle of the night to participate. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for your continued involvement in all of these matters for a long period of time. I'm always very impressed to think about all of the aspects of your work for women. I'll put in German we always put a star behind it. We've learned to put a star behind it.
Well,
so it's more.
Can I say something on that?
Okay, about the star. You're not a star. You're a star. America, you're a star.
You can be a star if you want to be a star.
Okay, you have a different method?
Well,
okay.
Women are women, trans women are women, non-binary people are no women, so there's really nothing like the star thing going on right at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So we, in Germany, we started using FLINTA, which is, I think, or FINTA, depending on if you want to include or not. And yes. I feel that's the most inclusive terms if you want to be. And in English, Key Change uses women and gender minorities,
yes,
which I find also inclusive in a way.
Well, we, in talking, I think it was your exchange perhaps with Jelena also, in talking with her, we even changed the title of this this event today and included FLINTA, and I myself would really want to have the L in there. I feel very personally that that's important. That's my intersection with all of you. Leanne, okay, so
sorry.
You're on. What has inspired you?
You?
What has made you think? And how do you see next steps?
Thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure to be here and to be listening to this ongoing discussion. And, to see and to talk with in person some of the people I know from online, from social media. Gabriella Dallaccio is very inspiring with her presence, with her website and with Donne. And Suzanne Woznicka is always doing things, and I'm just so impressed by the level of energy and activity, and I think we are working really in the same directions So I think to keep building these networks, but then also I think the idea of publicizing the big institutions that are not, not stepping up to the plate and not making change, and bringing some negative publicity to them as well. I mean, there was a huge change in 2018. I think the whole Me Too movement, certainly in the US, brought about such a large change in thinking of people all of a sudden, so many people all of a sudden saying sexism is a thing. How about that? As if they were thinking of it for the first time. And it really affected so many ways of society, in the arts and culture, as well as in just other everyday ways of life. But I think organizations like ours, we've been thinking about it for many, many years and many decades, so like we're providing sort of an underpinning for when people come to these ideas for the first time. We have some resources here and some background. So we want to keep providing the positive things, the materials. We will get back to giving grants to, they are to US orchestras, but that's been a very popular program of ours. But we do have our publications, which are actually, something that's been very important, because there was no edition of Amy Beach's symphony. If you wanted to play Amy Beach's symphony, you played from photocopies of the parts that were made in 1896. So now we have a critical edition of that, and going on and doing more of her music, like her mass. And then we also have publications of music by Elfriede André and Marion Bauer. And then we've done a lot of sort of arrangements and transcriptions also to bring music by women to wider audiences. Rebecca Clark is my personal specialty, and she didn't write anything for orchestra, so we've had her viola sonata orchestrated so that can be performed as a viola concerto. So, but yeah, and then in 2018, in that year again, the Philadelphia Orchestra, which is one of the top US orchestras, they were called out for not having any women in their programming for that year, and called out by these people who have thousands of Twitter followers. Alex Ross, very noted music critic, and the composer Missy Mazzoli, and just both pointed their fingers at the Philadelphia Orchestra. And the orchestra turned around and added a bunch of, special programming, of reading sessions, of works by young women composers. And then since then, they really have done a lot. And now they've just come out with their recording of the music by Florence Price. So, it's like, so the work of the women's, the work of the Women's Philharmonic, I think, is there sort of in the background, whether or not they're conscious of it or not. So, that we've brought so many of these composers to light. So
thank you. So you're saying really get out there, and if you see that there's something that's not working correctly, really publicize that fact. That's the sort of advocacy that you're suggesting, and you've seen it work in the past.
I think to really, to really work on calling out the large institutions, and maybe that's something we can cooperate on too,
yes.
That we build our networks to try and shift some of these big institutions that, left to themselves, they don't want to shift. They just keep going in the same direction.
Yes, I think even here in Munich, we have a few major music groups that we could approach. I can think of several, actually. Thank you so much for your participation, your involvement.
Let me show my T-shirt again.
Yeah. Whoa, please, Amy Beach.
That's
Amy Beach. Thank
How
you.
can we get this T-shirt?
Yeah.
Where can we order it?
The shipping from the US is such a pain, but maybe there is some way to do print on demand elsewhere in the world. The way,
we'll work on that. We will work on that. Very good. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll never forget getting together with you in Boston 2 years back and talking about Amy Beach, among other things. That was very, very lovely. I'll never forget that.
Did we go to her house?
Yes, you showed me her house.
Okay, great.
Yes, near the Boston Commons. I would like to continue now. We have 3 more statements. And I think this is very, very, very lovely to sort of summarize this way. The next person would be Bettina Wackernagel. She's sitting next to me here. She has traveled from Berlin to Munich to participate here. And she is the originator, the person who initiated the idea of Heroines of Sound. And you will tell us maybe a little bit, Heroines of Sound, a major music festival for electronic music by women composers, taking place in Berlin, but in many places. How did you find our session? Did you find moments of inspiration? And what are the next steps?
Well, absolutely. I mean, actually think it's very impressive, this tremendous advocacy for equality and women in music from all over the world. I mean, Brazil with the conductors. I remember, and then there's so international. We had 4 female composers from Latin America, so I know the women are strong, but I also know that, for instance, one from Peru told me, well, the public place in Peru is a male place. So I assume that your the frontiers with what you have to fight against is even much harder than our situation here. So I'm amazed. I'm also amazed in the wonderful work the U.S. advocacy do and encourage concerts and programs. But I also believe, I definitely do believe in numbers like Donna and music, and I thought it's most striking, this only 5% in what your research has been neglecting, because I think this is a strong argument, and a strong argument for what I would really like to aim for, and I stated in the beginning, if we share this vision of gender equality and music and art, and we can generally agree on this pledge. And this is also not so absolutely theoretical, because we have in Berlin already the music board, who have a gender equality for all funding. And I know, or I'd read at least, and I assume it's true, that the Susanna Eastburn from Sound and Music also made a pledge and announced that 50% of the funding in Britain will be dedicated to female musicians and composers. So I think that could be something we could really should be something we should really endorse, to make a pledge to our national-wide funding organizations to say this is public money, and we are public too, and it's and 50% should go also. They have to prove that gender equality is reached, and we will see, but I think we have fair chances, and it's not so, at least for the discussion. And what is important, that the Britons already do so, that parts of others, Music Board already does so. So why not go for it? That would be something. That's the big scale. The small scale is we always have to start to work on something, and I would like to more co-produce with radio stations in terms of features for our composers and our production. And I would be also, the next thing is I'm meeting Mirka tomorrow. And also to have a look for the mentoring program, also with MusicaFemina and maybe other organizations, how we could maybe join forces and something like that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your statement. It was very rich. There are all different aspects of it, and I'm really happy to think of you all working bilaterally, and I'm sure other people at the table here or those from afar are probably interested in being involved as well. Mentoring is a major topic which we could talk about a whole lot. For example, we have, I had the wonderful experience of mentoring Melissa Panlasigui this last year when she was doing her study on orchestras in Germany. And in the original plan for this conference, she would have been reporting on that. That's a while back now since we had to postpone. But her findings were important, and they really went through the press here. We could hold a whole meeting on how we could get the press more involved. I must say, though, I do see an increase in involvement. There were a number of people approaching us before the conference to say they want to report on the conference in the press. I think there will be several radio reports, at least on what we're doing here, which is wonderful as well. So we do have some things happening there. You've just mentioned the situation in Great Britain and the fact that there's some good rules being set up there, maybe even a strict quota on funding regulations and whatnot. So therefore, I would like to pass the word on to someone sitting in London today. She said you're in Ely, you said, in West London. Gabriela Di Laccio, who for the last 3.5 years, I think, has been dedicating her life to these questions. Could we have a final statement from you for today? As everyone knows, our conference will continue tomorrow. I would like to mention that here. Please sign in tomorrow morning when we continue. We'll be very, very happy to see everyone. But for now, I'd like to have a final word from Gabriela Di Laccio. What inspired you in our discussion, and where are your next steps, or where are our next steps?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much again for the invitation. Welcome to the people who are new here. Now I'm Gabriela. Here in London, I started a project called Donne, Women in Music, 2018, and now it's a charitable foundation. I find extremely inspiring today, and many times when I have conversations like this, is the amount of dedication and passion and knowledge and the talent that you all have in this room there and in rooms around the world. You all have my greatest admiration, and I applaud you all, first of all, because it's I know how much time it takes. My husband calls me an artivist, and being an artivist is when you are also a professional classical singer, it's hard work. And you can't stop. So I just applaud you all, and it's wonderful to see that we are not alone. I think that's a great inspiring thing as well. We have so many other people around the world doing this work. In terms of improving our network, I think in an ideal world, it would be nice to have a goddess that would come and partner us up the best way possible, like a Tinder goddess of all these amazing projects, which we don't have it for now. And I think until we have this one thing that puts us all together, I would really suggest that all of us really go project by project and see which ones we identify more as the language we use, what kind of works we are doing, and really try to see, because sometimes trying to partner with too many people is complicated in terms of finding time to meet and agree to things. And maybe we can all find one or two today that we can try and do things together and slowly move forward. And I think for the idea of the sort of ask for people to have a dedicated percentage of funding dedicated to women, maybe this is something we could think as a global thing, as projects, and come with a press release that would have all of us together as supporters of this idea, and launch this not only in Europe, but here in the UK, in America, and kind of make it a big statement. Maybe this is one idea. Going forward for us, for Donne, I think I mentioned this before, I started quite humbly and shyly and not wanting to make anybody angry. And now I'm just tired of the slowness of it. And I think it's time to hold people accountable. And that means, as I said, positive shaming the people who are not doing well, or the people who are sponsoring and giving big money to people who are not prioritizing equality and diversity. And I think this is our way forward. We did our latest report on 100 orchestras in the world this year. I want this report to grow in depth in whatever we are representing in the report. And I want to rank the orchestras next. I want to rank the sponsors. And if any of you think of ranking people, I spoke to a couple of people already, the Bloomberg, who said, oh my gosh, all the brands are afraid of ranking. So I think we have to start really going for, going for that. And there are two things I would like to say as well. I know I don't have to say this to all of you, but I think we all have to be very careful not to make music by women a special genre. No, because we need to incorporate this music, and we need to put this music in concerts and not separate this music, because I hear from composers a lot that they don't want to be labeled as women composers, and I understand. And then I say, but we have to prioritize you. But so just to have this very consciously in terms of do not ask for people to only do concerts with music by women, but to do a 50-50 or slowly. And I would actually ask for Mirka's opinion on this. I don't use the word female composer anymore. I've been called out by a couple of trans women who don't like that expression. And I know women composer doesn't include all the non-binary as well, but this is a conversation I have a lot because I'm in contact with the LGBTQ community a lot here. And Mirka, I would love your opinion on that as well, to see how we can make it better in general. And for all the people trying to join social media, my experience is go for Twitter first. This is where the good journalists are. This is where the people who actually matter are. Instagram is more if you want to entertain. Facebook, you're going to find lots of people like us, but the people we want to reach is the press, and not only the music press. I think we need the press, the press, because if the press talks about what we are doing, the music press will have to follow. I talk too much. I'm so sorry. No,
every word is quite valuable, I would say. I remember that you said you had received an award. Could you tell us just what that was?
Mm-hmm. Oh, the award. We received an award here in the UK as the most inspiring charity in gender equality in music.
Okay, no, but I think
it doesn't change anything.
Congratulations. I think it's important to mention that. I love your picture, although I don't think it's realistic, but I love your picture of the Dea ex machina, the god is coming down. You can tell you're an opera singer or a singer because you have that image. It's wonderful, and I love the idea of being an artivist. I guess I would be able to call myself that as well. Yeah. Can
I put the links to the report here in case people can
please do that, and I think we will be sending out link lists and information lists to all of the people attending this conference. There's so much to impart, and we've learned that today. I would like to say a big thank you to Jelena Rötemel, who helped me prepare for this session. The two of us worked together at the Archive of Women in Music. I have been on the board there for the last 8 years, and I've really enjoyed working with you these last couple of years. We've had an interesting time putting this together, trying to pull everyone in to be involved. We know that there were a lot of people who we could have additionally asked to be involved, and we hope that that everyone will be acceptable of the fact that we had to make a choice. There were a few people who were not able to attend, who we had actually invited. That was Présence Compositrice in France and Grinnem here in Germany, Gender Relations in New Music. I would say, would you like to say a word about something that might have inspired you, Jelena?
Well, I was just inspired by the number of the organizations and persons and also the activities we were talking about who are engaged in this in this topic, who are engaged in getting gender equality. So yeah, it was really inspiring to talk to each of you, to finally meet you after sending so many emails.
Yes. I must say for myself, I also have a feeling of empowerment because of who we all are and how we are able to talk with each other. That is also the product of connections that we've built over time, over these last years, where we've really been working on communication in our area. It's something I'm very involved with myself and feel strongly about, and I'm very, very happy that we've been able to have this exchange today. I'd like to say thank you to everyone else who also made this possible, especially the planning group, MusicaFemina. We'll be seeing more of them tomorrow, but it's been a group that's been working very, very intensively to get this hybrid presentation going, which is not really trivial to put together. And I'd like to thank our technical team as well. Many thanks to all of you. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful afternoon, Leanne, in California. Take care. Stay well, all of you. And join us tomorrow.